There you go.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. I'm Susie McCrae from Amherst, Massachusetts in the United States, and I'm a proud global founder of a company called OnPassive. And it looks like Marty was able to join us, and I'm thinking he will probably want to speak, so that's
Yep.
great news. So welcome. Today is our Let's Bless Our Loved Ones public guest webinar, and you've been invited to hear about a global business from someone who really cares about you. So you're going to hear a few of us speak today, and then afterwards we'll open up the chat and our guests will have an opportunity to ask questions. So I'd like to introduce our first speaker. His name is Marty DeGarmo. He comes to us from New Jersey in the United States. And Marty, for about 17 years or so, was a project manager in the corporate world. He traveled a lot around the globe. And then over the last 15 years or so, Marty has been online doing online marketing. He knows it all about what's out there, all different things he's tried, and he's going to tell you why he chose OnPassive and what the difference it is in other things that he has been part of. He has a lot of wisdom and a wealth of knowledge. So listen in, and I'll be back for our Q&A at the end of the webinar. So enjoy. Marty, it's all yours.
Made it by the skin of my teeth.
I guess so.
Yeah, thank you. I could not get logged in. I had no idea what happened. Welcome everybody. Susie, I'll pay you for that introduction later. Anyway, as Susie said, I'm 29 years old. No, I'm just kidding. I'm 61 years old. I have been online forever, since 2004. And for the same reasons as most of you that are here, welcome, by the way. And, to make money online. And as my one of my business partner, Charles, always says, not chump change. I came on to make a half decent amount of money, a walk away income. And I knew it was possible because I met people that did it. and I saw people that did it. Well, anyway, I joined the first company, or I want to call it opportunity because many of them weren't companies after all. And I couldn't tell you what it was, but I remember opportunity after opportunity was pretty much the same answers, the same problems. First, when you first get online and you go to make money, you realize a lot of things you didn't know that you need to know. One was you get on, and most companies, if not all, I can't think of one that doesn't. At the time, you have a monthly auto ship. So when you first get in, if you can't start building a team fairly quickly, that first month you're going to be at a negative. Why? Because you have to buy the monthly subscription, whatever it might be, beauty, lotion, potion, whatever. I mean, there's everything out there. And some of the products are good. I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying, but what the main reason was to make money. And that was pretty elusive for a long time. And then as time goes on, you realize there's a lot of things that happen. One is, make a list. So you make a list of everybody you know. Fourth or fifth opportunity down the road, they can't stand you, right? Because they followed you to 3 of them. They didn't do any good either. You wanted them to, you believed they would, you believed you would. And the 2 or 3% at the top that look like they're doing okay, they're telling you the same thing. That story doesn't change. Well, you may not be doing that well because your why isn't big enough. In other words, you don't care is the next guy as much as he does. Which that gets old really quick. Yeah, I care as much as the other guy, okay? I got a plenty of whys. And your dream's not big enough. You don't have a big enough list. You don't have enough no's. I like that one the best. I think I was a champion at no's. I got a lot of no's. I don't know what they're talking about. So this went on for 9-10 years, really. And thank God, I ran into Mike Ellis here and Dan Strait, who's not here today. And we realized fairly quickly, I mean, you realize that you want to ignore it, but the facts are you need to be able to drive traffic. And when I mean drive traffic, I say traffic and I talk about certain things on the internet like everybody knows what I mean. All of this will be broke down in detail by Charles Osong. And when he's done, you will know what you need to know. So don't stick with every word I say because you may not know what I'm talking about. But the point is you need people to come to whatever it is you're selling at the time. If you don't have fresh eyes at it that are looking to buy that product, you're in a world of hurt. Not only are you trying to convince somebody of something they're not wanting or not even looking at, you got to do it quicker than people quit. Now, why would somebody quit? It's obvious. Second or third month into it, they're actually losing money. They paid in 3 months, in case of 3 months, they paid 3 auto ships. Nothing's coming in. They're starting to pile up their closet with some hair tonic, right? And they're bald. That's not a news flash. So you're doing stuff like that over and over and over and over. So we did learn how to drive traffic and targeted traffic. And we started to build teams of like, this is it. This is the golden ticket. Here's the other end of the spectrum for all of you that haven't drove traffic yet. Now you are meeting people like yourself that are where you were in the beginning. They don't know how to drive traffic. They don't know how to do all those things. And then you say, duplication. We will duplicate and share with them exactly what we learned. It does not happen. If all these people are 2 or 3% walking across with these big checks, could automatically take what they've learned and give it to you. In some cases, in my case, Mike and Dan, we would have freely give it to people. The problem is they're not going to get it in a couple of weeks. They got full-time jobs, they're a single parent, whatever, and you're going to throw 7, 8 years experience and say, we want you to do what we did in 2 months or 1 month. And it just doesn't happen. So now what happens is, got this huge, you're building real big teams, but all you're really doing is building a team faster than they quit. So you get into that. All right, we got 200, lost 100, we got 300, lost 200, got 500. It's ridiculous. You're like that gerbil in that wheel, just and nothing's happening. So 2.5 years ago, a little more, I was introduced to this business by a gentleman and his friend that I knew for a couple of years. I trusted a big deal online. If you find somebody you trust, and they explained this business to me, I asked them what they were doing. I went to them. And like I said, I've heard every business. I'm online 10 hours a day. And he explained it to me. And I asked very simple questions. If I invite somebody to this, will they make money? Yes. Do they need any special skills? No. The company does it all. It's automated. I signed up. I found out what it was, digital products, and I don't want to get into that. That's why Charles is here, to make it clear for you. If I told you about it, it would take me an hour and a half and you wouldn't probably know any more than you do now. But we all have our lane. That's not my lane. But anyway, I'm going to introduce to you now Charles Osong. 30 years experience in this area of internet technology. 30 years. Online, offline. And when he saw what we're in, especially somebody with his background, which I respect because he gives me a different look, but somebody that knows what makes this tick, to see it and be blown away, it really puts a stamp of approval on someone like me that doesn't know the IT part of it at the time. I've learned it and I enjoy it and it's amazing. But anyway, Charles saw it and it blew him away. He will give you his story, and his story, when it's finished, will explain to you why we are here, and close to 1 million other people are here. And I'd like to turn it over to Charles Osong, and you will be impressed. And by the way, at the end of this, if it's too much at one time, we will send you a copy of the webinar. You just send me an email. I'll put it in the chat section. Thanks, everybody, and I'll turn it over to my friend and very, very good at explaining this business, Charles Osa.
Thank you so very much, Marty. That was I'll also pay you later for that introduction. And thank you, Susie, for welcoming the guest, Marty. We have some great leaders here today, guys. Mike Ellis is gonna come after me. You guys are blessed. Marty just said we're here and over another 1 million people are with us. And just so you know, our CEO just said yesterday, at some point, we're gonna stop taking founders. So if you're here today, jump on it, don't waste any time. And I'm gonna do my best to explain to you this once in a lifetime kind of opportunity, because it truly is once in a lifetime. And the way I do that is I tell you my story, like Marty said. And Mark Twain once said, as long as you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. And so that's what I'm gonna be doing, just telling you the truth, okay? I've been in the United States for over 36 years. I came in to be a medical student and I soon realized that was not for me. I got into IT, started working, and I've been working for over 3 decades in that field. Of course, it's relatively good, pays relatively, comparatively well, but of course, it was a job, right? J-O-B, just over broke, okay? By the time you're done paying your bills, you're left wanting. I've got a big family in the United States and outside of the United States, and I'm gonna have to help out. So I've always looked for ways to make extra money. Long time ago, I ran into the works of Mr. Warren Buffett, who said, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you're gonna work until you die. So I kind of thought about it and I agreed with him. And I started looking for ways to make money in my sleep. Okay, so just close to 5 years ago now, I tendered my resignation for corporate America. I remember a colleague of mine looking at me and saying, Charles, you are very blessed, you are very lucky. You must have saved up a lot of money to be retiring this early. And I said to him, on the contrary, I have been working for over 30 years and I can't seem to be able to save up the kind of money that I would like. So there's got to be a better way. And I also recall Robert Einstein, who said, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, that is a definition of insanity for him. And I resonated with that. And I thought this guy has a point. So that's why I retired. I resigned, not really retired, but I resigned from corporate America. And I got myself an office space in Maryland, in the United States. And close to 3 years ago, a trusted friend of mine walked into my office and said to me, Charles, you need to take a look at this opportunity. It's gonna blow your mind away. And just so you know, prior to retiring, I had been studying rigorously the behavioral patterns of successful people. And one of them is this: you bring an opportunity to them. They look at it, okay? They look at it inside out and then make an informed decision. So that day I pretended to be one of them. And I told my friend, I'm gonna take a look at it, that's for sure. But I do have 3 prerequisites, 3 questions for you to answer satisfactorily before we move on. Question number 1, this opportunity that you are bringing to me today, if I do not recruit, if I cannot sell to even one person, am I gonna make money? And I mean real money, enough money to give me financial freedom. As you may recall, I had resigned. I was retired from work. So I had time freedom. But I was still looking for that very elusive financial freedom. Because when you have those 2, time and financial freedom, then you can say you have total freedom. So I asked my friend that day, with this opportunity, if I cannot recruit because I am a human being, I don't know how to recruit, period. 97 or 98% of us don't know how to recruit. Am I gonna be able to make that kind of money? And he said to me, Charles, don't worry. You'll make enough money to leave a legacy for your children, your children's children, and beyond. That sounded like music to my ears. And I said, okay, let's go to question number 2. With this opportunity, am I gonna have to come out of pocket every month in, month out, to pay some bill? In the industry, they call it ownership. Am I gonna have to pay a monthly ownership? He said to me, Charles, nope. Once this company launches, so apparently they were still in pre-launch, right? Once this company launches, you're gonna come out of pocket once, and that is it. I could not conceal my excitement at this point, but I told him, we've got one more question. The last, but certainly not the least. This company that you are bringing to me today, do they have legitimate, viable products? By legitimate, I mean legal. By viable, I mean necessary. Something that mankind, you and I, we need on a daily basis. Think about your cell phone. If you don't have your cell phone in this day and age, believe me, your life will be miserable. Think about internet access. Anywhere you go these days, what is the Wi-Fi password? Okay, without the Wi-Fi, life is miserable. This is what I mean by viability. If a company doesn't have viable products, my friends, that company is a time bomb. You hear of all these companies going out of business, shutting their doors. It is because the products are not viable. It's that simple. So when I asked my friend that day, this opportunity, do they have legitimate, viable products? And he said to me, Charles, you have an extensive IT background. Why don't you take a look at it? Or take a look at the products? And I said, okay, I did. And I came back to him and I said, my friend, should this company succeed in what I'm seeing, in what they're trying to do, we are going to have an internet quake. We are going to have a shakeup of the internet. But I also told him, it is going to take some time though, 5 years, maybe 6. And he didn't like that because he's like all of us. We need money now. We need instant gratification. And so he said, Charles, why do you say that? I said, it's simple. You told me to take a look at it. I did. And I understand fully well what they're trying to do. They're using artificial intelligence, AI for short, in every step of the development process. And AI, my friends, is a disruptive technology. And what do I mean by that? A technology that comes every once in a while, and it'll change the way we do things, such as the internet. In other words, it'll disrupt our lives. AI, my friends, is yet the most disruptive technology mankind has ever known. But AI is very involved. It involves machine learning. It involves empirical data. It involves millions upon millions of lines of coding. For those of you who are familiar with software development, that is time consuming. You agree with me on that. And that is why I told my friend, we are going to have to buckle up. We are going to have to fasten our seatbelts and enjoy this roller coaster. But I also told him, I don't care how long it's going to take. I want to be part of this company right now. I had something we call FOMO, fear of missing out. I had missed out on a few opportunities earlier on in my life, and I wasn't going to miss out on this one. So I told him, I don't care how long it takes, and I don't care how much it costs. So how much is it going to cost me today to be part of this opportunity? Now I was thinking some huge amount of money, something like 20K. But I did have my credit card with me. Thankfully, in the United States, we do not need cash. All we need are some plastics. And I had a few of those at the time. But my friend looked up at me and said, Charles, you wouldn't believe it. It's only going to cost you $97, $97. And I was just flabbergasted. I could not believe him. I said, you got to be kidding. He said, nope, I'm dead serious. I said, okay, here's my card, put it on there. By the time we were done, it had costed me $102, 102. So yes, there is a $5 fee that the banks will charge you. Big deal. I told him, consider that dinner for two. But I also told him, I do not have 5 or 6 years to be monitoring the business because I've got to put food on the table. So please do me a favor. Call me, text me, email me, do whatever it takes. Get me informed when they are closer to launch so that I can get more involved. He said, deal. 8 months later, he gave me a call. Charles, the CEO of this company wants to talk to all of us in 1 week's time. Can you make yourself available? And I said, why not? 1 week later, I hopped on the call and there was Mr. Ash Mofara. Mr. Ash Mofara is a founder and CEO of this company. Mr. Ash Mofara, for those of us who have been around for some time, we have come to know and love him dearly. Not only because he's going to help us make money, and I can assure you, he will help us make tons of money, but also, and more specifically, because of his heart for humanity. My friends, we have quite a few geniuses out there. We have Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, just to name a few. These guys, all of them have the brains. But do they have the heart? As you come to join us, you're going to find out really quickly that not only does our CEO have the brains, but he also has the heart. And that is why most of us leaders resonate with him so very well. But mind you, I was listening to him for the very first time. And I hopped on a call, in a Zoom call just like this. And he said, folks, we have been making a lot of progress. We are closer to launch than ever. Needless to say, I was thrown a bit. This statement got me thinking. I'm like, okay, what is this guy talking about? It was just 8 months earlier, I had told my friend, we're going to be waiting for the long haul. And now all of a sudden, he's saying, we are closer to launch than ever. And I'm saying, whom is he kidding? I know what they're trying to do. It cannot be that quick. But the least it did was it got my attention, okay? And I was listening very keenly. And he said, we have gone to Bangalore in India. Now, if you look behind me, you're gonna see a building that says OnPassive. It's behind Madi as well. This building is in Hyderabad, in high-tech city. This building was leased for 9 years by OnPassive, December of 2020. At the time, almost 3 years ago, this building was non-existent. Mr. Mofara had gone to Bangalore. He had leased 2 floors in a high-rise building. And he went on. We've hired 200 engineers, the best of the best. And these engineers are working day and night to make sure our dream is realized. So now I'm thinking most startup companies are going to have 20 to 25 engineers. Most startup companies are going to have these engineers work 8, maybe 9, maybe 10 hours a day. I know, because I've been part of a few of those. Well, this guy goes to the source, and when I say source, for those of you who are in IT, you agree with me that Indians are the best in the game. Now he goes to the source. He did not get 20 or 25 engineers. He got 200 of them. Not ordinary engineers, the cream of the crop. And they're not working 8 or 9 or 10 hours a day. No. They are working around the clock. They are taking turns, working in shifts. So now in my head, I'm beginning to think, okay, with this kind of a resource, yes, you are able to cut time frames. With this kind of a resource, yes, you are able to do in 5 or 6 years, you're able to do, in 2 or 3 years, what is supposed to take 5 or 6 years. So my belief factor is going up, and I'm listening keenly. And then he continues, but we have had a few unethical individuals, some founders, like yourself, like me, you and I, have been unethical. And so we're going to come up with an NDA for short, non-disclosure agreement. And when you see that, you better sign them up, because it's the only way you can participate in this great company. 2 months later, he called up another meeting. My friends, NDAs are out. Go start signing them up. I went back, took a look at this very long document, and I am not an attorney by any stretch of the imagination, but I can assure you, by the time I was done reading that document, it occurred to me that this is serious. I looked at the time, from the time I joined until then, I look at time, money, energy spent. And I said, this is the time. This is the time I told my friend, call me, text me, email me, so I can get involved. This is the time I need to roll up my sleeves and change humanity and be part of the revolution. So I called up a few friends to my office. I said, listen, guys, something big is about to happen, and we need to be part of it. And not only do we have to be part of it, we have to spread the word, because we are going to help change humanity. We are going to help reduce the gap between the poor and the rich. And so we brainstorm, what are we going to do? How do we get this word across? And we concluded Zoom. Thanks to technology, with Zoom, all you need is a smart device. You get a smartphone, a laptop, doesn't matter, an iPad. You get internet access, data, as you guys call it back in Africa, and you are on. So what is this company I'm talking to you about? OnPassive. You can see it right behind me. And that name was not given by chance. This is a passive opportunity. What does that mean? That means when we launch, you pay one little small amount of money, which we're going to talk about later, and money in your bank account. You go to sleep, and those engineers, the staff, the management, they work on your behalf. That's what this is all about. Our CEO and founder, Mr. Ashmo Farah, he has a master's in e-commerce. He went back to Harvard, studied online businesses. This guy has a knack for artificial intelligence, AI, that disruptive technology I just mentioned to you guys. This guy is a guru when it comes to traffic generation. Maddie mentioned traffic like 4 or 5 times earlier today, and I'm going to explain to you what traffic is. Traffic, my friend, is so important. Let's spend a couple of minutes to talking about it. Traffic is the most fundamental element in any business. It doesn't matter whether this business is online or offline. But I do know most of us here today, we have an age, we are more used to offline businesses. So let's start there. What is traffic offline? Let's say you have a business offline, and it doesn't matter what kind of business. It can be a car dealership, it can be a barber shop, a hair salon, it doesn't matter. Let's just say it is a restaurant. And I only use that because I love food, and I know each and every one of us has to eat at some point in time. Okay? So you have a restaurant, and I have the same exact restaurant. Same kind of food, same everything, same name, same chef. As a matter of fact, the food tastes exactly identical except for what? Location. Your restaurant is located in a busy area, in a shopping mall, for example. Mine is located in a back alley. Okay? Now, your restaurant is going to fare better than mine. And here's why. People are going to come to the shopping mall, in and out, all the time, minding their own business. Maybe to do their hair, do their nails, buy some clothes, window shopping, whatever it is that brings them to the shopping mall. Eventually, they will get hungry. They will look up, spot your restaurant, wander into your restaurant, and the end result of that is what? Sales. My restaurant, on the other hand, people are going to have to know that it is there. People are going to have to leave their homes deliberately to go there. Because of that, it suffers. It suffers from what? Traffic. So what then is traffic? The people, the customers coming in and out of your business. It is that simple. What about traffic online? But before I go there, I want to say this. In this digital day and age, if you have an offline business like the restaurant I just mentioned, you better get yourself an online presence. Otherwise, you will be smoked by your competition. So what am I saying in essence? It is true that we have lots of companies offline, millions upon millions of them, but it is also true that we do have more businesses online than we do offline. Billions and billions of them. Okay? Because you can have a business online such as Amazon, and you will make tons of money without having an offline presence. That is a reality. But all of these billions of businesses online, they need traffic to survive. So what is online traffic? Clicks. That's what it is, clicks. You have a business online. The first thing that needs to happen for you to make a sale, people have to come and click on it. No clicks, no sales. The more the clicks, the more the sales. So we have individuals online, businesses online. All they do is drive traffic, send customers to businesses online, to all those billions of businesses online. And they are making a killing. Typical example, Google. And then we have targeted traffic, right? Maddie mentioned that too, targeted traffic. What is that? Say you go online and you're looking for a TV, and somebody comes to your ear and whispers, why don't you go to charlesoson.com? And the moment you go there, all you see are TVs, all kinds of TVs, all shapes, all colors, all prices. Guess what are the chances of you buying? Very high. So that store just got itself a targeted traffic. Some customer looking for exactly what they're offering. Huge. Our CEO and founder, Mr. Mofara, that I just mentioned to you guys, is the best in the game of driving targeted traffic. And that's why we're excited. And because of that, we can dream. You and I, we can dream because of targeted traffic. He proved himself when he graduated. He got involved with a few companies, drove customers to them, targeted traffic, drove affiliates to them. Yes, he made some millions doing that. And these companies made a killing too. Unfortunately, most of them went out of business. Why? Remember I told you guys in the beginning, no viable products, any business is a time bomb. So Mr. Mofara and his family, notably his wife, they're going to decide, they're going to say, you know what? We need to stop sending customers to these businesses that have no basis, to these businesses that are eventually going to go out. We need to start our own. And we're going to get legitimate, viable digital services. We're going to get founding members, you and I. We're going to drive traffic to them. They make money. We make money, and everybody is happy. My friends, that is the birth of OnPassive. That is why we are here today. So just over 3 years ago, Mr. Mofara and his friends, they're going to sit down and say, hey, we are starting our own. Statistics show that we have about 8 billion people on earth, and at any point in time, 7 billion out of those 8 billion are online doing something. Now, remember, guys, at that time, there was no pandemic. There was no coronavirus. So you can imagine what that number is today. But 7 million at the time is still a lot. So what kind of services are these people looking for? So we can offer them. Well, guess what? Some of the people online are doing online banking. I know that. I do that sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times a day. And I know a bunch of you do that as well. When we do these things, guess what? There are businesses online, individuals online that monetize on our services. And these guys are going to say, you know what? With AI at the back of our hands, we can do that too, even better. Some of us online, we are on our favorite social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Just a few days ago, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, they're all out. And people lost a lot of money. Okay? Guess what we're doing on this social media platform? We are sending texts, messages, photos to friends, colleagues, family members, classmates, potential customers. Well, these guys in OnPassive, they say, you know what? We are going to do that too, even better. Okay? With AI. As you come to join us, you're going to find out we have our own community. It's already 970,000 strong and climbing by the minute. Some of us online, we're doing e-commerce, drop shipping, email marketing, bulk emailing. Well, if you do not know, there are people online making 6- and 7-figure income just doing email marketing. I know that. I thought about it once upon a time. And these guys are going to say, you know what? With AI, we're going to do our own email marketing, auto-responding, all of that, AI-driven from start to finish. Some of us online, we are video conferencing. So if you can see me, or you can hear me, or both, it means you went to some application called Zoom, you put in some ID, and there you are. Well, guess what? The founders, the owners of Zoom, are monetizing on our services as we speak. And Zoom is not the only one. We have Skype, we have AnyMeeting, we have Cisco WebEx, we have Google Hangouts, Microsoft Teams. We have a plethora of more than 25 of them, all of them making serious money, especially after COVID-19, especially since the advent of that pandemic. But Zoom is the most popular. Why? Because they are the most user-friendly. But not for long. You wait until you see our own very own Connect, our own video conferencing platform. Those of us who have been here for some time, we've had a chance to look at it, have a sneak peek. It is clearer, 3D, the image is very, very clear, more secured, end-to-end encrypted. It is faster, it is scalable, and above all, guess what? My friend Mike Ellis always says, at a lower price point. That means it's more affordable. Okay? But let's focus on Zoom today because OnPassive has not yet launched to the public. Let's focus on Zoom. It is still their day. Prior to COVID-19, Zoom was averaging over 10 million participants a day. April 1st, 2020, same company took a statistic. That number had risen to over 300 million participants. You can imagine what it is today. November 30th, 2020, Forbes magazine came out with a report. Zoom had made more profits than ExxonMobil, the decades-old American oil company. My friends, do you know why? Ever since the pandemic, every university, high school, middle school, elementary school, asking students to take classes virtually. So those of us parents, digital immigrants, we have to run up and down, left and right, try to figure out how to use Zoom so that our kids, our children can take classes. I have seen pastors, men of God, women of God, having virtual prayer services. Yes, virtual weddings. The world is going virtual, and OnPassive is simply going to help us monetize. Now let's talk about another virtual service. Virtual private network, VPN. What is that? Sounds like a mouthful, right? It is a fancy name. It's a fancy name for a tunnel. It is a tunnel that cuts across a major network, such as the internet, and it provides for privacy. Employers use it so that their employees can log into corporate data from wherever they are without fear of bad guys, without fear of hackers. So ever since the pandemic, guess what? More and more companies asking employees to work from home, right? That means they need some kind of VPN. That means somebody is monetizing. Well, these guys at OnPassive, they say, you know what? With AI, we can have our own VPN too. Super, super smart, more scalable, more secured, end-to-end encrypted, and above all, guess what? At a lower price point, more affordable. So when OnPassive launches, I can assure you one thing. These big players in this VPN space, like Cisco Networks, they are going to know there is a new sheriff in town. Oh yes, they will know. Now let's talk about another service, search engine optimization, SEO. That's another mouthful, right? We know of search engines. We know of Yahoo. We know of Bing. And those of us Apple enthusiasts, we know of Safari. These are all search engines. And all of us should know of Google. It is so popular these days, it's like a verb. Somebody says something to you, you don't know it, Google it. Tell them to Google it. It's a verb. All of these guys are free, okay? Facebook, all of these things are free. All these tech companies, YouTube, free of charge. Google, free of charge. Yet, these are multi-billion-dollar companies. And here's a multi-billion-dollar question I've got for you. How do they make money? Let's talk about Google, for example. How does Google make money? Most of us don't know, and frankly, most of us don't even care because it is none of our business. But here's how they make money. You go to Google today and you search for something. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be an iPhone, it can be a watch, but I want it to be a camera just because I do market my camera to Google. You search for a camera and a bunch of them are going to pop up. One of them from my store. Yes. If you click on it, that camera from my store, you just costed me money. You don't have to purchase. You don't have to buy it. And Google calls it pay-per-click. So Google says you market an item through us, and a lot of companies do that. You know that. And the company comes or customer comes looking for it. We are going to optimize our search, hence search engine optimization. We're going to bring it to the top so that they can see it, eyeballs. As long as they see it, our job is done. You pay us. And how do they know? Because they clicked on it. At the end of the month, they're going to tally up how many clicks go towards my store. And guess what they do? They bill my credit card that they have on their file, and they call it pay-per-click. And they are making a killing. As small as I am, business-wise, online, I'm paying Google averagely $400 every month. So now you can imagine the big players, United Airlines, Walmart, all these big players. You can imagine what they are paying Google every month. That's how come they're multi-billion-dollar company. OnPassive is going to use search engine optimization, AI driven from start to finish, to drive customers to our websites. Huge. It is so smart, super intelligent. By the time a customer types the first letter, it already knows where it is headed. I can assure you, when OnPassive launches, the big players in this space, they are going to know there's a new kid on the block. Yes, they will know. My friends, what am I doing? All I'm doing is I'm giving you the services that OnPassive is putting together. Digital services, services that you and I use every day, okay? OnPassive is putting them together, and there are more than 50 of them. I just give you the ones we can relate to. We have e-learning platform. We have accounting software platform. We have human resources. We have everything, tracking IP devices, everything that you can need online. However, some of us are not going to need those things. But the ones I just mentioned, each and every one of us know them. OnPassive is putting them in one umbrella. That's what they're doing. We're going to put it under one umbrella. In IT, we'll call it single sign-on. And here's a big word for you to take home today. They are integrated. No company on earth has ever succeeded in integrating all these things. Now, I told you guys earlier, with OnPassive, you do not have to recruit to make money. With OnPassive, you do not have to come out of pocket every month to pay an auto ship. And now with OnPassive, you have the most legitimate, viable digital services you can find in this day and age. My friends, you will be hard-pressed to find all three of these in one place. And if you do, I can assure you, every one of us on this panel, you tell us, and we are going to be your first customer. This is value. Now you have all this value. What is it going to cost you to become a founder? Because we are still in pre-launch for a limited time only. We're still in pre-launch. I told you guys, when my friend came to me, it was $97. Fortunately for you, it is still $97, but not for long. You jump on board. Now you get back to whoever invited you, pay your $97, become a founder. Now, after your $97, what next? Financially, nothing. You wait until we launch to the public. Once we launch to the public, you're going to come out of pocket one last time, somewhere between $200 and $300. That's it. That activates your account, makes you a customer. And guess what? We are a subscription-based company. I need to be clear. This is the meat of this presentation. So if you're here, take a sip of water, wake up and listen, okay? When OnPassive launches, each and every one of us founders is going to come out of pocket one last time, between $200 to $300, okay? And that is a monthly subscription. Monthly. Guess what? We are here because of monthly residual income. And there can be no monthly residual income without monthly subscription. Those two go hand in hand, like in marriage, okay? But here's how fortunate we are. We're going to pay once, AI goes to work on our behalf, and subsequently, after 30 days, our commission is going to produce enough money to pay for our subscription. So automatically, our subscription is going to be paid thereafter. How do you beat that? You pay once out of pocket, and that's it. The balance of what you get, you can take home. That's how huge this is. Now, with OnPassive, you can be active or you can be passive, like the name says. When you are passive, no problem. You will win because AI is going to work on your behalf. When you are active, you will win, but you will win faster because you're helping AI to do the work. It is that simple. Now, let me say one more thing, and I'm going to let my friend Mike Ellis add a few words before we go to Q&A. There is risk in every business, and OnPassive is no different. What is our risk? $97. And guess what? It is only a risk after 30 days because our CEO has said that $97 is refundable within the first 30 days. How cool is that? Now, If you don't want to take a risk, no problem. Nothing venture, nothing gain. All these companies that you see out there, you can still be part of them. Google, Facebook, all of them. You can go out there, buy some shares. 2, 3, 4 years later, you might be lucky. Your money might double or triple, but you're not going to become rich. Trust me. Those that become rich are those that come in the beginning. Those that come in when it is still an ideology. They jump in before everybody else does. You wait until the world knows about it. Too little, too late. And here's where we are today. Timing and position were OnPassive before the world knows about it. It's that simple. Mike, do you want to say something to our friends before we can move on? Mike Ellis, by the way, guys, it's been online, offline for a very long time, for more than 20 years. Mike Ellis has been with OnPassive for almost 3 years, just like me. He knows everything about this business, an excellent presenter. He has his own perspective, the way of presenting it, and I love it. I just want him to say a few things so that we can move on to Q&A. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Charles, we'll give you a little bit of break. That was a terrific presentation, and you covered all the bases of OnPassive. A couple of key things I want to hit on just very, very quickly. As you look at OnPassive, remember 100% automated. OnPassive, as we come in and pay the subscription fee of between $200 and $300, that's when OnPassive goes to work for each and every one of us, and will build our business for us. And as we look at where we're at in OnPassive today, it's October 2021. This is a very, very unique time in OnPassive. It's something that many of us have been waiting for quite a while, myself over 2.5 years. So you're in a really lucky position as you come in and become a founding member. We are in the process of going into the global launch of OnPassive. And although we don't give dates out, we're very, very close to that date where all the founding members are just going to be very excited because OnPassive is going to be going to work for them and taking care of that financial bottom line that we all think about. So you're in a really unique position. I would come in, continue to explore OnPassive. There's so much more than Charles talked about. And if he talked about everything in OnPassive, it would be about a 3 or 4 day webinar. So we don't want to do that to you. If you didn't get everything, Marty has put the email in the chat list, onpassivenation@gmail.com. You can get this Zoom, this webinar, and go over it several times. But it truly is unique where we're at. What OnPassive is doing, it is revolutionary. And one of the main goals that Ash had as he built OnPassive was to take care of you and I, so that we could come in, take advantage of everything on OnPassive, and take care of that bottom line. Really, really some cool stuff. And I don't care when you came in as a founder, whether it's today or 2 years ago, the benefits are the same for both of us. Ash is going to take care of those bottom lines with OnPassive, 100% automated. Get ready. Your life is about to change. Susie, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mike. We always like hearing your perception of things. And Charles, thank you for a wonderful presentation. And if you just catch a glimpse of what was told to you today, get back to the person and jump on board. Okay, so today is for our guest, the Q&A. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable the chat. And what we'd like to do is, if you are a guest and you have a question, you have 2 options. You can type it in the chat and we'll do our best to go through and answer your question, or you can raise your hand. And if you raise your hand, what I will be doing is bringing you onto the screen with the 4 of us here. You'll get a little block on your Zoom that will say, do you accept becoming a panelist? And you agree, and then you come on and you can live ask your question. So if you're shy, go on down to the chat. Also, as Mike said, if you want a copy of today's webinar, maybe you joined late, that's okay. Or maybe you want to absorb a little bit more about it. You can email onpassivenation@gmail.com. And by doing that, Marty there will send you a link of today's presentation. The other thing we want to tell you is go to onpassive.com. If you go there, you can see a whole bunch of the products. You can click on them. There's an FAQ. there's videos, things you can learn. Because like Charles told you, these are viable products. These are products that are superior to what's out there, and people are already using a lot of these products. So do yourself a favor and go check that out. So we have one hand raised. One person in the chat asked, when is it going to be launched and when will people start earning? So would someone like to respond to that?
Yeah, I can start it off.
Okay.
This is an open forum, and Ash Mufareh, although he's talked about the launch of OnPassive, he hasn't given us a date yet. Just yesterday, Ash had a meeting for the founding members of OnPassive, and he went over many, many things. And if you listen to that, you have a pretty good understanding of what's coming and how it's going to pan out. So do I personally have an idea when the hard launch, the global launch of OnPassive will be? I do, but I can't tell you. Come on in as a founder and listen to Ash's last webinar, because the only way you can listen to that webinar is if you are a founder. And when you listen to that webinar, you're going to have an understanding not only where we're at, but how quickly we're going to get to where we all want to be, which is the global launch. So I would recommend you pay the $97 plus a $5 fee, $102, become a founding member. Believe me, you won't be disappointed. All of us on this panel are pumped, to put it mildly. We're in a really, really good place. And as you come in and become a founder, listen to a few videos, you're going to understand that you're in that same position. So hopefully that helped.
Yeah, very much so. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, and I agree. Jump on board, start being part of our private webinars. There is a question from MK. Hi, thanks for a great presentation. What do you mean by being active and passive, and that you progress fast when an active member? So maybe if someone can talk about the opportunity we have now to grow now before we launch. If someone wants to talk about that.
Charles, you've been talking for an hour, so I'll take it and then you can jump in.
Thank you.
Active and passive in OnPassive. OnPassive is 100% automated. You can come in, put OnPassive to work for you, and they will build your business. And the way we get paid, it's a lot like a commission salesperson. As you make a sale, $100, you get 10%, that'd be $10. OnPassive is going to manage all of that for us. They're going to make the automated marketing platform. They're going to hook it up to AI, 100% automated. They're going to drive traffic. They're going to manage the customers coming in, the sales coming in, and then after the sales, they're going to manage everything. Okay. That is being passive in OnPassive. But you can also come in, and if you have the inclination and the talent to share OnPassive with other people, you can grow your organization quicker by actually sharing OnPassive. That's the active part of OnPassive. Each one of those individuals, whether you're active or passive in OnPassive, we're all going to get to that place where we don't have to worry about the financial bottom line. But it's your choice. If you want to share OnPassive, that's absolutely awesome. You'll build your team quicker, your organization quicker, and you'll get to that place, that financial place you want to be quicker. But if you don't do that, you're still going to get there. OnPassive is going to do that for you. I can tell you as people come in, and I've had people come in and say, listen, I'm in, I'm not sharing it, I'm not talking about it, I'm not going to do anything. And then after a month or so, as they're in OnPassive and they understand what's happening and just how powerful what OnPassive is doing, all of a sudden they start sharing it with their friends, their family, their colleagues at work. And when people hear a presentation from Charles or some of the other founding members in OnPassive, when you hear what OnPassive is doing, you're just in. I mean, it really is that simple. You're just in, because there isn't anything out there today that will take you to a place where you don't worry about finances. There is nothing else out there, guys. It's not there. Marty, we've all been online for a very, very long time. If it had been earlier, if I'd have seen this earlier, I'd already be retired. I'd be in the Bahamas with some of my founding friends in OnPassive, and we'd be having a ball. But active, passive, it's really up to you. Either way, you're going to get to that place where you don't worry about finances. I don't know if that made any sense, guys, but
No.
Charles, Marty, you can chime in if you'd like, or Susie.
No, I think that was great. Yeah, what an
I think you did
opportunity.
justice to it, Mike.
Yes, you did. Okay, I'm gonna see if Petro would unmute themselves. They're on the panel. If not, we do have a couple more questions in the chat that I'll address. Petro Chai, Chiy, Petro, if you could unmute yourself while we wait for that. After payment, this is Fidelis is asking, after payment, do we have a share certificate? Okay, so I guess we have Petro on now, and then we'll get back to that share certificate. Petro, are you a guest?
Yeah, no, I'm not a guest, I'm a founder.
Okay, well, today is for our guests, okay? So you can attend on Monday, the founders only Q&A, okay?
Okay, madam. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
The question is, Fidelis, after payment, do we have a share certificate? So I think that what comes from that is, thinking that you're buying shares in OnPassive, which is not what we're about. We are a private company. This isn't an investment. So if someone else wants to speak a little bit about that, that would be great.
Yeah, so all you have, my friend, is just an invoice to show that you have made your payment. You can print that invoice out just in case, you just need proof. Some people like that. When I came in, I didn't care about invoice. Even up to now, I still don't care about invoice because the opportunity is so great. $97 is really nothing. It's just having skin in the game. Our
Right.
CEO is offering this for us pretty much free, right? But of course, you got to have skin in the game because guess what? You're gonna have what, 5 billion people online claim that they are founders? No, it's not gonna happen, right? But we don't have share certificate. Like Susie said, we are not a public company. Thanks to Ash for not making it public, because some greedy rich guys would just claim all the shares and you and I will not be part of it, right? So
right.
there is no, we have an NDA and we have your invoice. That's it.
Yeah, well, thank you, Charles. Yeah, you'll see once you go ahead.
Let me add one thing real quickly. OnPassive is a business, guys. As you come in and participate with OnPassive, you have a business. It is your business. You are a partner with Ash Mufareh, okay? So it's not shares, not anything like that. It is a business. And the subscription fee that we pay OnPassive, which is monthly, like Charles says, you pay it once and the preceding months will be paid from the profits. That is our skin in the game. You will pay OnPassive to go to work for you. It is your business. So treat it like a business. That's all.
Okay, very, very well said, Mike. Modesta is asking, how can OnPassive help me promote my music career? That's a great question. So if you want to respond, Charles or Mike?
Susie, go ahead and take it and I'll come in after you.
Okay. Yes, Modesto. How can you promote your music career? Well, it depends what your music career is. Are you a musician? Do you teach music? There's all sorts of opportunities in OnPassive for you to promote it. So if you have a website, you would be able to sign up as a founder. And then when we launch, you would be able to bring that website onto the OnPassive platform, and you could have OnPassive drive targeted traffic to that site. Whether you're selling CDs, you have concerts, you get to pick what you want, what traffic you want. Is it local? Are you across the globe? All of that. If you are a teacher, you will be able to go into Academy, which is our online learning platform, where you can go on there and you can provide teaching and music lessons, and you will earn from that. And you will have an audience of all of us founders because we become customers, and then customers coming in. So that's another way. The other way is we have another product called ONet, which is our social media, where you could go in and you could play your music. You could bring your following that you currently have now on another platform, bring them over, and that will help you promote your business. Plus, you'll also earn some more income from that, from bringing in followers who are interested in being part of OnPassive. So I hope that answered it, Mike, if you want to add anything else.
That was absolutely perfect, Susie,
Okay.
for this one individual. The only thing I would add, it doesn't matter what company you're in. If you need a place to get traffic, as Charles and Marty talked about, OnPassive is perfect. You can come in, put your company on the OnPassive platform, and have them drive traffic to your business, good qualified eyes looking for what you have to your business. This is what OnPassive does. That's why it's so unique. Even if you don't participate in OnPassive, you come in, you become a member, but you want to promote another business, that's okay. They will help you promote that business. And in time, you're going to find, whatever business that is, in time, you're going to find out that you're going to be making more money with OnPassive than you did with your business. But maybe your business is a passion and you want to market it. That's terrific. OnPassive will help you do that.
Yeah, just think about that. You've got OnPassive business working for you, and then you're doing something you love and probably going to make more money in your music career than you ever had. But if you're passionate about it, like Mike says, that's great. We do have a question from Alicia Lauren. She said, I noticed the address listed in the US for OnPassive is located at a Publix grocery store. Well, you have the wrong address, Alicia. The one you listed here is not accurate. If you could go to onpassive.com and scroll down to the bottom, the two contact, the current contact locations are, it's in Orlando, it's 7380 West Sand Lake Road, and there's a suite number. And then you can also see the address in India. So not sure where you grabbed that. That may have been some old information.
I want to add something to that though, Susie.
Sure.
Because I've seen people do presentations and have to show the building of OnPassive and all of that good stuff. To
Yeah.
tell you guys the truth, I'm in IT and I know how these things work. When Steve Jobs started Apple, he started in his garage. Okay? I can start a business today, literally on my table, with my computer and my laptop, just my laptop. Okay, I know what I'm doing and I write codes. And before you know it, it's $1 billion company. So all those locations, whether it's in a grocery store or whatever, to me, it doesn't even matter as far as I'm concerned. When we got into OnPassive, Mike, you know that, Maddie, you know that, there was no building in Hyderabad. There was no building. There was a building in Bangalore. I didn't even ask if they had a building. I didn't care. All I need is, does the guy have brains? And this thing that he's saying that he's gonna do, he can do it from his own, from his table, his kitchen table. Can he do it? That's all I need to know. So why people worry about us in a grocery store, in a public store, all that, it doesn't matter, to tell you the truth, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, thank you, Charles. I'll answer this question. If you registered and you couldn't pay, can you pay after semi-launch, or there will be a time frame to proceed your payment of $97? Well, if you're registered now, you should do your best to make the payment now, because during semi-launch, if you're already a pending founder, you may not get the date stamp that you started now. So you'll find more parameters on that once you become a founder, but I wouldn't wait and allow yourself a time frame. If pay the 97 now, because you know, there is a possibility the price may increase during the semi-launch as we go out marketing OnPassive. Dolly is asking, what about copyright issues or intellectual property of any business concept? Not quite sure what you mean, Dolly, but rest assured, our CEO has a team of lawyers. Things are copyrighted. He has patents probably pending, we know of, or maybe already in existence for the intellectual property. He has that all covered. He has compliance. He has everything in place to be a legal business.
I want to add a little bit too.
Sure.
Keep in mind, everyone, it's a multi-billion-dollar business. All the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. Look, asking things like that, it's a multi-billion-dollar business. Did they paint the doorknob? I mean, the stuff that we're asking doesn't make sense. It's not your run-of-the-mill mom and dad dime store. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. There's lawyers in almost every country involved in OnPassive. They have everything they need to get this thing off the ground. That's what they're doing now. That's the foundation. And guess what? We don't have to worry about it. There's no reason to even think about it. You get in, and guess what? You win.
You win, exactly.
You win. If you want to wrap your head around who signed what color socks somebody had, I don't know. I don't know what Bill Gates is wearing right now, but I use his stuff and I don't care. I don't care what his legal team does. He's already covered that. It's covered, trust me. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars are spent on lawyers and keeping this thing legit. Trust me. There's no, it's as legit as you can get. So don't worry about those kind of things.
Exactly, Marty. I mean, this man, Ash Mufareh, over 3 years has put his blood, sweat, and tears and money into this. He's making sure all the bases are covered. Charles Jacob wants to know how many founders are needed before launching. There is no number, and we have enough to launch now should we want to. So there's no number on that at all. MK, okay, active means sharing this idea and getting more to join. Great. Did you say we pay $200 US monthly after founder membership? I can explain that a little to you, MK. What happens is right now to become a founder, you pay $97 and it locks you in as a founder in the company. When we go to the official launch to the globe, you will then, all founders will then activate their account by becoming a customer of OnPassive. We don't have the amount that will cost. It will be between $200 and $300. At that time, you're going to activate your account, and then you are both a founder and you're also a customer of OnPassive, and OnPassive is going to go to work for you. Both of those payments are the only payments you will ever pay out of pocket. After OnPassive goes to work for you, your next monthly subscription comes out of your profit, not out of your pocket. And we feel very confident that there will be enough in there after the first month to pay your next month's subscription. And you will see your commissions growing and growing. So it does have to be paid every month, but the first month is out of pocket. The rest is out of commission. And yes, there is a monthly subscription because, like Charles explained, we're paying OnPassive to do the work for us, but it's coming out of our commission. That's why it's self-funding. And how beautiful is that? Okay. Hi, team. I was told about OnPassive just today. My question is, when will be closing the opportunity to become a founder member? It's going to be closing soon. You have time now, but we're going into our semi-launch where you can still be a founder. And then once we go to the official launch, there'll be no more founders. So you want to get back to the person who invited you and get on board as soon as possible. Chabuzu, do we have systems on ground to withstand the muscling of the already established big players, as they will want to give OnPassive a run for their money? If someone wants to talk about how Ash talked to us about competition, would anyone like to comment on that?
Yeah, here's the interesting thing about competition and the big tech companies that are out there right now. Okay, they don't even know about OnPassive. They don't even think about OnPassive. OnPassive is not even an afterthought for these individuals because they're arrogant. They don't think anybody can compete with them. They don't think anybody can take market away from them. That's a really, really good thing for OnPassive. As we go into the global launch of OnPassive, and Marty has already said it, OnPassive will be a multi-billion-dollar company, okay? At that point, it's too late. Nobody can push OnPassive around. And the way Ash Mufareh has structured this, it really is ingenious. He's checked all the boxes. He's done everything he needs to do to make sure that if anybody comes after OnPassive, regardless of when it is, it's too late. OnPassive is a done deal. So these big tech companies that you think might come in and bully OnPassive, You don't bully a $1 billion company because they've got as many lawyers as you have. And because OnPassive is ethical, clean, and honest, there's just nothing they can do. Ash Mufareh is so honest and so clean with this company. These other companies that maybe aren't that ethical, it's over. They can't do anything. And a lot of these individuals, they might not have a business in a year. That's just my opinion. So,
Okay, thank you. I've got a few more questions here. I know some people, so I may have missed some. There is one, someone was asking, how can I get other founders to join me? Well, there's a couple of ways. Once you sign up as a founder, you're going to sign up through the registration link of the person who invited you. Then you'll have access to your back office and they'll help you with that, where you can use your registration link to share with others. Now, we do these public webinars for the company every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time and every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So what you can also do is you will learn once you come on board, there's some webinar links that you can invite people so that you don't have to explain everything, because we understand that. You've heard a lot today. So that would be your best bet, is to jump on board. They'll help you get your registration link. Someone asked, is it possible? I'm not sure if I want to answer that question. Good day to all.
there's a question you missed, Susie. I'll just read it. As a software programmer and IT specialist, how do I benefit from OnPassive? Okay, I'll start it off and you guys can come in. As a software programmer, you don't benefit from OnPassive in any way whatsoever, period, unless you go to work for Ash Mufareh in Hyderabad, okay? But as you come in and become a founder of OnPassive, now you can benefit from everything that OnPassive is doing for all of us. But as a software programmer, you can sit there and look at it and admire it, but you're not going to profit from it unless you come in and actually become a founding member.
Exactly. Yeah. Doesn't matter what background you have. Now, listen, I jumped on board and I have a large family and friends, and I was excited and they all jumped on board. My parents are in their 90s. They're founders. They listen to the private webinars after we've had them. I help play the recordings for them. It doesn't matter what your background is. Everyone's going to benefit at being a founder.
Let me add
go
something
ahead.
to that real quick.
Sure.
Just so you know, as a software programmer, and you get a founding position, that one founding position is going to pay you so many more times over than your software programming position pays you, just so you know. Okay, this is where entrepreneurship intersects with technical know-how. Okay, just to add to that.
Okay. Just a reminder to some people who came in late, if you want a copy of today's webinar, you can send an email to onpassivenation@gmail.com, onpassivenation@gmail.com. I'll type that in a minute. Someone was asking about the money. We're not going to address that now. We cannot tell you how much money a founder is going to make. We don't have any information on that. Just trust the process that you will be totally delighted once we launch to the world. Good morning. What is the best way to make a payment in Nigeria? Because one of my invite payment was rejected. I don't know if you want to take that, Charles.
So I'm seeing a lot of founder type questions here.
Yeah.
I think they should come back on Monday, because it's going to benefit other founders who are also in Nigeria and so on and so forth. So come back on Monday and ask that question, and then we're going to respond to it, and all the other founders in that area will benefit from it. Okay.
Yeah, and I think Karun Kumar, your question is like a founder question. I think I got everything here. I'm going to put where you can send your email. Remember, don't put an email in the chat. You're going to send it. I'm going to put onpassivenation@gmail.com, and make sure you go to onpassive.com to look at the products. And like we said before, you've heard a lot today. What you want to do is get back to the person who invited you. They'll help bring you on board, request a copy of the webinar. And once you get on board, like we were just saying, we have these presentations every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. On Mondays, we have a private founders only roundtable where we give updates. And as a founder, you're invited to that, where you can come in and ask the questions that you want to ask. And so that's, once you get on board, you're going to have access to a lot of different webinars as well. So if you're from another country or people who speak a different language, once you become a founder, you will see there's webinars all across the globe in different languages where you can plug people in so you don't have to explain everything. Okay, let those who have been around explain it. So I
Yes,
think
and I'm seeing
that we're
like
good.
some Idrisu asking about KYC and other stuff. Again, that's a founder type question. Please come
Yeah.
back on Monday, all right?
Mhm.
And then we'll talk about that. For now, we just want to have our guests to understand the concept, take advantage of it, because this train is about to take off, right? And the door is going to be shut.
Choo
So
choo.
exactly, the door is going to be shut. So guys, come in, and those of you guests who happen to come in before 2 p.m. on Monday, you can now join us at our roundtable, open to all founders, okay? So you get a better understanding of how big this is. This is gonna blow your mind away. If you miss out, it's nothing ever gonna happen again like this. I can assure you that.
Okay, we have one last question. Valerie wants to know, if I join, how do you cancel if you're not happy with moving forward? We have a 30-day money back guarantee. So you can sign up, take a look around. We recommend you look in the back office, listen to some of the recorded webinars, talk to the person who brought you in, get plugged in. And if you're not happy with it, there's an easy way for you to get a refund through the back office, and the person who brought you in will help you with that. We get very, very, very few refunds though, just have to say. So, but good question. It is a 30-day money back guarantee, and it will be honored for you. So I think that's it. Email onpassivenation@gmail.com. I want to thank Charles for doing a wonderful presentation, Marty, who was on giving his wisdom, and also Mike Ellis as well, who always brings some great insight to these presentations. So do yourself a favor, get back to the person who invited you, jump on board, and then continue to dig in deep, and you're just going to be so happy you did, because you're going to learn a lot more once you become a founder. Okay, Charles and Mike, we good?
I think we're good.
Okay, have a great day, everybody.
Guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you guys back on Monday.
Okay, sounds good. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yes.